whenever I meet somebody at the gym and they follow me on my Instagram, they are mind blown at the fact that I used to struggle with binge eating and overeating and emotional eating, and that I used to struggle on a daily basis with my relationship with food and my eating habits, because people look at me today and they assume that I've just always been this way. I've always been super fit, super lean, six pack. Like everyone's just amazed. Oh my God, your abs, you're so lean and you're so consistently lean. You don't yo-yo. That's amazing. And I'm going to sit here and tell you that this has taken me so much personal development, self-work, inner child work. This has not, like, for some people it comes naturally, you know, they're fit, they can eat pretty much wherever they want. I follow a lot of girls who they're very naturally fit, you know, they work out, but it doesn't take that much effort for them to stay that way. That is not the case for me. That is not the case for me. This was me when I was at the height of my binge eating issues. And I can tell you, for the majority of my life, I have thought about food 24/7. I have had an absolutely terrible relationship with food. And I never thought that I was ever going to be able to fix it, because when you're so used to having such a tumultuous negative relationship with food, you just assume that that's just how it's going to be forever, because that's all you've known. And I'm making this video really as a video to my old self, because every client that I work with is basically a spitting image of the old Vivian. And I had so many misconceptions about what it would take to overcome emotional eating and binge eating and yo-yo dieting. And so this video is just to address those misconceptions. Number one is, you've been struggling with your food, with your relationship with food for over 10 years. It's not gonna go away in a week. It's not going to go from absolutely terrible to absolutely amazing overnight. And when you come to embrace that fact, your journey is going to be so much more smoother. When you can learn to accept that, hey, this is going to be a bumpy ride, and I have faith that I will eventually get there, but I'm not going to expect myself to go from hating myself to loving myself in the snap of a finger. I'm not going to expect that of myself, because that is setting myself up for disappointment. And for so many of my clients, I have to have this talk with them and let them know that, hey, if you end up having a night where you emotionally eat or overeat or binge eat, that is okay. They assume that as soon as they start coaching, they're gonna be perfect. And that's exact mindset that got them in the emotional eating, restricting, binge eating cycle in the first place. This idea that I cannot mess up, I have to be perfect. Once I set this goal, I cannot accept anything less. That's the exact mindset that contributes to binge eating. When you learn to embrace the messiness of this all, that, hey, I'm going to take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and I'm not going to take that as a sign that I'm a failure, that this is going wrong, or that I'm doomed to be in a cycle forever. Just that, hey, this is part of overcoming this cycle. Take 2 steps forward. Oh, make a mistake. What did I learn? Okay, let me try, what will I do differently going forward? Okay, let me try that. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I still do that to this day in all areas of my life. Even with eating, there are so many lessons that I've learned that have helped me overcome binge eating and yo-yo dieting, but that does not mean by any means I'm perfect. Like the other day, I went to the kitchen hungry, and instead of pre-deciding what I was going to eat and focusing on whole foods, I just grabbed random snacks that sounded good, right? And I know better, but sometimes life happens and you forget, right? So after that happened, I didn't beat myself up. I just said, all right, what was the learning lesson here, Vivian? It's that when you are hungry, don't go into the kitchen, just grab random snacks. When you are hungry, understand that you're in a vulnerable place to eat whatever sounds good, which is ultimately not going to make you feel your best. So when you are hungry, before you even step into the kitchen, decide what you are going to eat and prioritize, or at least incorporate, some form of vegetables and protein, because you know it makes you feel good. But pre-decide what you're going to have rather than leaving it up to chance, opening the pantry and going, ooh, what sounds good? And then you just grab random snacks, right? That's what happened. So, and I have made that mistake before, right? But again, sometimes we forget. A lot of things happen in life. You forget, oh yeah, I forgot that was something that I don't like to do. Remind yourself, continue going forward. And that's exactly how I approach my journey. And that's how I approach the journey with my clients as well, right? One common mistake is that they allow themselves to get too hungry. And so they know that if they allow themselves to get too hungry, they tend to not make as smart of food choices. And so a common reminder that we have during our journey to overcome yo-yo dieting is, hey, don't let yourself get too hungry. How can you set your meal timing up in place so that you don't get too hungry, right? And sometimes, you know, your schedule gets busy, or you have a newborn, or you get a new job. And so like, it's easy to forget, and that's okay. Okay. I forgot. My life circumstances changed. This is a reminder. Don't let myself get too hungry. How can I set that up in place with my new schedule? Life is always changing. And because of that, we always, even though we think we've learned a lesson, learning a lesson in one area, in one phase of our life, is not going to translate to look exactly the same as learning that lesson in another area of life, right? So if you've learned how to overcome emotional eating in terms of, you know, after a long day at work, when you're stressed out, you overeat, right? And you've learned how to overcome that. That's going to look different from your mom just died. Now you're grieving her and you're learning how to manage those emotions and not overeat then, or emotionally eat in that situation. Right? So it sounds like the same thing where it's both emotional eating, but there's still two totally different circumstances that if you've never navigated before, you don't yet have the tools and the knowledge on how to navigate it. And that's okay. Understanding that, hey, you are learning and you're growing and you're doing your best. You're doing your best that you can, even though it seems messy and you continue to overeat and you feel like this is my best, this is not my best. It is your best. Because trust me, if you had all the knowledge and the pieces that you needed of this puzzle, excuse me, you would put them in place. And I always remind my clients of that, and myself, like, truly, if we knew better, we would do better. And that is a phrase that I wholeheartedly believe in. I truly believe if you knew better, you would do better. And a lot of people will say, but I did know better. But maybe you didn't realize how vulnerable you were in that state. And so even though you thought you knew better, you really didn't, because you didn't have all the pieces. Again, I really truly believe if we knew better, we would do better. So even though you think you knew better, if you truly knew better, if you truly had the wisdom, you wouldn't have made that mistake. So understand that you're human. You didn't know better. You learned your lesson. What is the lesson that you learned? And you're going to carry that forward, and you're going to learn how to forgive yourself, and you are going to be compassionate with yourself because you're human. And most importantly, being hard on yourself and getting frustrated with yourself and being mean to yourself literally does nothing. Vivian, this is a message to myself, my old self. It literally does nothing. It keeps you stuck in self-hatred, which does nothing other than make you want to emotionally eat and binge eat even more. So why would you stay in your self-hatred mode if you know it's just making it worse? You deserve your own forgiveness and compassion and love. You did not know better, and you will do better. You will do better. I have so much faith in you, but you need to have faith in you. You need to have faith in that you are going to overcome this. You are going to reach your goal, and it's going to be messy, and that's okay. It may not look like exactly the journey you want in the timeline that you want. And learning how to let go of your own expectations of what it should look like is going to be a huge part of your journey, because you're so used to controlling everything in your life. You're so used to being such a control freak that you want to control this too. But the universe and God is asking you to surrender, to surrender to the fact that you struggled with this for the majority of your life, and you're not gonna overcome it overnight. And learning how to be okay with that is going to be a huge part of your journey. Learning how to be patient and celebrate the wins that you do have, even if it doesn't look exactly like you want to, is a huge part of your journey. Okay, so even though you still overate, the win is that instead of having 5 bowls of ice cream, you had 4, which is less than you would have normally had a month ago or a year ago. That may not seem like a win to you now, but trust me, it is, because 5 bowls of ice cream turns to 4, then turns to 3, then turns to 2, then turns to 1, then turns to do I want to have ice cream? Yes or no? No, cool, I'm not going to have it. It turns into you actually being able to make that decision and stick to that decision. But it starts with a very small, gradual wins. And again, I know you want to go from 5 bowls of ice cream to 0, but that's just not how life works. That's not how habit change works. Not if it's sustainable. You can exert willpower and discipline for a very short period of time, but I'm telling you right now, it is in the small habit changes where the gold is, where your transformation comes in. When people ask you, oh my God, how did you lose 30 pounds and how did you get absolutely shredded and you look amazing? It's not because you cut out everything you love and you went cold turkey. It's because you learned how to be patient and celebrate the small habit changes. You learned how to give yourself small, realistic goals that you could actually follow through on every day. You stopped trying to set such high goals that were stressful for you and that would just constantly lead to disappointment. You finally stopped putting that pressure on yourself and you said, you know what? I'm going to be so patient with myself and I'm going to give myself such tiny, small goals in the right direction that are so small that I can do it. I can do it. So normally I order 6 glasses of wine at dinner. Instead of saying, oh, I'm going to go from 6 to 0, you're going to say, I'm going to go from 6 to 5. I can do 5. I can do 5. And from there, you're going to say, wow, I actually stuck to 5. That is amazing. Maybe I can do this. Now from 5, you're going to, okay, I'm going to try for 4. 4, you're going to go to 3. 3, you're going to go to 2. You're going to go to 1. And that is how your transformation is going to happen. It wasn't from 6 to 0. It wasn't from 6 to 0. This took you so much patience, so much kindness, so much compassion with yourself. But because you did it the slow and sustainable way, you were actually able to maintain your habits. And now you are in a place where you never in your wildest dreams thought you could be with your body and your relationship with food. Absolutely mind blowing. And I just want to say that I am so proud of you. So proud of you for just showing up and doing the messy work, getting back up when you fall down, having the courage to face your weaknesses, face the things that you don't like about yourself, face your child trauma, face your triggers, because all that ties into your binge eating. Face your insecurities. I'm just so proud of you for having the courage to face the parts of yourself that you don't like and learning how to make peace with those parts of yourself and understanding that we all have those parts of ourselves and that it's okay to have ugly parts or parts that you don't like. None of it is good or bad. None of it is good or bad. And I'm so proud of you for learning how to take the judgment and the label off of yourself and just understand, hey, this is where I am. It's not where I want to be. So what are the steps that I need to do to get closer to who I want to be? I'm just so proud of you for showing up for yourself. And that is, I know, the one thing that you wish you heard from your parents, your sibling, I have one, um, from the people that you look up to. I know that's all you wanted to hear. And you can't control what other people say, do or don't say to you. But I am here telling you that I am so freaking proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And that is the only person that you need to be proud of you, yourself. That's it. Because you're the only one that you live with in your head 24/7. And if you can learn to be proud of you, that is all that matters. That is all that you need. And so here I am sitting here telling you how proud I am of you. And you are just doing absolutely amazing. And I love you. And I recognize every ounce of effort that you are putting in to your journey. I know how hard it is, but you can do this. And every time you fall down, you're going to get back up. And that is where you are going to develop your confidence from, in your ability to get back up, even when times are hard, even when things seem impossible. You can do this. And I love you so much. I love you so much.